Now at 9, students at Pitt State mark the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with their annual Day of Service. Plus, the Ellis Fine Arts Center in Fort Scott opens its doors to the public to learn about the life of Dr. King. And on this holiday, volunteers head to downtown Joplin to clean up the change.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. Those are the words of Martin Luther King Jr., who's honored today around the 4 states and around our nation. This is KOIM News. I'm Dow Quick. A lot of people are recognizing Dr. King today by rolling up their sleeves and volunteering throughout the community. King's legacy is one of service, justice, and community building. KOIM's Mitch Adams caught up with several Pitt State students honoring the King Holiday and Service Act, which designated this as a day on, not off.
For some Pittsburgh State University students, a day off is better spent as a day on. To celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the Pittsburgh State Campus Activity Center hosts a day of service in the community.
What we're doing is really trying to motivate our students to get out in the community that they live in, help make it better, and kind of just ingrain them in what Pittsburgh has to offer.
This is not the first year volunteering for many students, including Joey Martin, who's returning to volunteer with the Salvation Army.
This is actually the second year that I've participated in this event. The Reverend King left a lasting impact and legacy of service throughout our country. And so I believe it's important for students to take initiative and step up and serve their community.
Organizers say the event reflects Dr. King's values of service, no matter how big or small.
I think it's just a really great thing for our students, our staff, our faculty to get involved with. I'm hoping that new students who are participating in this activity, but also our returners, are able to leave today knowing that they're making Pittsburgh a better place.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOIM News.
Aside from the Salvation Army, volunteers pitched in at the Wesley House, the Lord's Diner, and the SEK Humane Society. The Ellis Fine Arts Center in Fort Scott invited the public to learn more about the life of Dr. King. The 4-day celebration wrapped up today with a screening of the documentary Remembrance of Martin, along with plenty of community discussion.
You know, we just automatically just didn't come to where we're at right now. We're on the shoulders of giants and people and unsung heroes that came before us to provide opportunities we have and to encourage integration and celebrate our lives, diversity in all of our lives. And so we're here to pay tribute to folks like Martin Luther King and, of course, with Gordon Parks, too, as well.
The event also featured a canned food drive and a presentation from Dr. Prisha Barnes discussing democracy and the responsibilities of citizenship. Volunteers in Joplin also marked the day with some community service. The annual Clean Up for Change took place at the Mini Hackney Service Center in downtown Joplin. Folks rolled up their sleeves, put their work in by treating the center to a good old-fashioned cleaning ahead of the center's role as a warming center.
So the Community Service Center is used for a lot of things. So we wanted to clean inside. It gets used in the winter for a warming center, so we just wanted to clean the inside and get ready for that.
The Mini Hackney Community Service Center has been serving Joplin for 80 years by offering meeting space, civic classes, services for the elderly, and resources for the needy. Boy, it's cold out there. Let's check in with meteorologist Austin Stantz.
Yeah, thanks, Dow. As you mentioned, it is cold out there tonight. Temperatures in the teens across the region right now. Bella Vista, you're the lucky one, sitting at 20 degrees right now. Now, as we head into the evening, these wind chills going to start to feel like single digits as we head to the overnight hours tonight. Expected to feel around 7 degrees heading into that 1 a.m. hour. Could even get down to around 5 degrees, feeling like that with the wind chill tonight. Now, temperatures actually going to begin warming up as we head into the overnight hours into your morning. It's because we have a warm front that's going to come through overnight. That's going to help us as we head into tomorrow. So while it's cold out there tonight, by the time we make our way through tomorrow, 45 degrees by 2 o'clock. We're into the mid-40s. So single-digit wind chills tonight. A midweek warm-up is on the way, but we're also going to talk about weekend snow chances. I have all those details coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon. As communities across the country host parades, panels, and service projects marking 40 years of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the political climate for some is uneasy. Fox News correspondent Madison Scarpino has the latest.
Communities across the country are observing the 40th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
No tears! Immigrants are welcome here!
From Brooklyn to Washington, D.C., thousands marching to honor the civil rights leader's life and legacy, as well as family members laying a wreath at his memorial on the National Mall.
Dr. King believed in a beloved community, one rooted in dignity, fairness, and shared humanity.
Leaders arguing even decades after his assassination in 1968, the United States is still battling with some of the same themes of inequality and discrimination.
If Dr. King were alive today, he'd have a lot of work to do.
The message of Dr. King seems more important now than ever. I think he would recognize the progress we've made in our country over decades, but I think he'd be horrified by the moment we're living through, where so many people are seeing their civil rights attacked.
Dr. King's niece revealing what she thinks her uncle might say about the tense situation in Minnesota after a woman was shot and killed by an ICE agent.
I believe he would want us to know that we're just one human race and that we should be kind rather than all of the anarchy and violence. He said that only love can drive out hate. Only faith can drive out fear.
People are also honoring Dr. King's memory by volunteering and attending church services. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
Coming up, do good genes make a difference? Researchers take a closer look at how good genes can have an impact on the way a person ages, and how people struggling with loneliness might have some relief in sight. Good genes might explain why some people are so-called super-agers. A study by Vanderbilt University Medical Center looked into super-agers, people over the age of 80 who still have the memory and cognitive function as someone 30 years younger. They identified those people are less likely to have two genes linked to Alzheimer's and more likely to have genes beneficial to cognitive health. Parents are becoming more lenient with their kids' swearing. A University of Michigan survey found that fewer than half of parents say their kids should never use swear words. Most parents say they believe their kids learn to curse from friends, with the main reasons for the behavior being trying to fit in, trying to be funny, or trying to get attention. Even though the World Health Organization has declared loneliness a global public health crisis, medical professionals say there's still a lot of stigma surrounding social isolation. While we all get by with a little help from our friends, making new ones doesn't usually happen overnight. But people needing relief from loneliness might be in luck. Fox News' Sue Guzman takes a look at how friendships can help.
With health professionals still warning about the medical risks linked to loneliness.
Loneliness or social isolation carries around the same health risks of smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day.
The CDC says having strong connections with others can help folks feel like they belong.
When we feel isolated or alone or like we don't have that, it affects our entire body. It affects your brain. People die younger when they're lonely.
But human development experts say it takes a lot of time and energy to build and maintain close relationships.
There's a study that shows that it takes 200 hours to establish a friendship. And you got to be lucky there. You've got to have enough in common.
According to Dr. Karen Fingerman of the University of Texas at Austin, friendships could offer solutions.
It's really the easy bake oven of a relationship.
A friendship usually refers to a no-strings-attached connection formed with people you regularly see in specific settings, like a coffee shop, gym, or dog park.
When you're at an activity, look around for someone that you can stand next to. Start a conversation.
And while experts aren't saying to stop forming close ties with others,
a friend will take you to the airport. A friend will bring you a meal maybe when you're sick. A friendship does not do that. That's not what they're there for.
Friendships can be a great place to start if you're feeling isolated.
People who aren't close to you provide stimulation. They provide novelty for you. They get you out in the world. but it doesn't require 200 hours or a lot of coordination.
Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Austin's next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, why the winter months can wreak havoc on our skin.
While we're dealing with some frigid temperatures this evening, there is some relief on the way as we head into tomorrow. Off to our west, we have the stationary front here. What's going to happen, this boundary is actually going to move further east. In a stationary front is two air masses fighting over each other, so cold air, warm air. Well, this area this elongated area of low pressure pushes east. It kind of helps that warmer air win that battle. That becomes a warm front, pushes east as we head into this evening and then into tomorrow, which is going to give us some warmer temperatures heading into tomorrow. Now, taking a look at our future track for this evening into the overnight hours, 19 degrees here as we head into the 10, 11 o'clock hours. So temperatures actually warming up. By the time we're reaching 6 a.m., we're actually headed back near 20 degrees there. So that's that warm front moving through. We're actually going to see temperatures warm up through the entire day, really, until the later afternoon. Now, there is a chance of seeing the aurora borealis tonight. Now, I cannot, in good conscience, tell you to go out there with your phone and stand out there for 30 minutes and try to get a picture of it. But the best viewing time between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., you would need your phone, turning your automatic flash off and looking north, and so you'll maybe be able to catch a glimpse of that. And even with a maybe, it's not really worth it. But I just wanted to put it out there. I mean, you probably are going to see some pictures across Facebook that it is visible tonight. 19 degrees overnight tonight, wind chill near 5 to 10. As we head into the overnight hours, wind's going to pick back up just a little bit, gusting anywhere from 15, 20, near 25 as we head into your Tuesday morning. Again, wind chills bringing their way back down to single digits tonight, so between 5 and 10 degrees is what it will feel like overnight waking up tomorrow morning. The good news is we warm back up to around 48 degrees tomorrow. It's a little bit breezy out there. Mostly sunny skies for your Tuesday. Heading into Wednesday and Thursday, well, Wednesday, we're nearing 50 degrees. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually break into the 50s. As we head into Thursday, some cloud cover across the region begins to build into the area. And then Friday becomes a little bit cooler for us. Winds shifting back out of the north. It's a little bit of a cooler start at 21 degrees. And temperatures tank after that. We're going to see the opportunity for a little bit of snowfall heading Friday into Saturday, but take a look at these temperatures. 5 degrees Friday, and then even into Saturday as well, back down to 5 degrees again. You notice that snowfall doesn't last very long from Saturday into Sunday morning. Now, coming up, we're going to talk and break down that snowfall potential and that system that brings that in, but just take a look at these temperatures. This is probably the most dangerous scenario here, is not the snowfall, it's the temperature. Overnight 5 degrees Friday, overnight Saturday around 9 degrees there, so much colder. But then as we head back into next week, temperatures return to right around average, so we got a pretty big drop off coming this weekend, Dow.
Yeah, we'll be welcoming that back to average temperature when it comes.
Yeah,
sure.
Pretty quick, hopefully.
All right. Thanks, Austin. Old man winter can really take a toll on the body's largest organ, that is your skin. Dermatologists say we're constantly losing moisture during the winter because our bodies are kind of like humidifiers, releasing that crucial moisture into the dry air around us. And those long, hot showers, well, they don't help either. They may warm you up for a moment, sure, but all that hot water is actually bad for your skin. Doctors say dry skin can actually pose a health hazard.
Your skin is actually the barrier of protection to the outside environment, right? So if that gets dry and that gets impaired, you actually are putting yourself at risk for infection, not just the itchy, uncomfortable skin that happens when your skin is dry that can have you lose sleep at night and be uncomfortable, but you can actually get sick and get infections when your skin barrier is broken.
Dermatologists say the first step is to pull in moisture with a product containing hyaluronic acid and then seal it with an emollient like Aquifer. In winter, limit the use of products with glycolic and other acids and retinol. Those ingredients can strip down your skin's barrier even more. Coming up next, it's a celebration 250 years in the making, how to find the best places to party for America's upcoming birthday. All 50 states are gearing up to celebrate America's semi-quincentennial, 250 years. And while July 4th is several months away, of course, many event organizers say now is a great time to start planning your trip. Jen Sullivan highlights the nation's big celebrations and where you can travel.
From sea to shining sea, communities across the country are planning celebrations to mark the 250th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence.
This is a historic milestone for our country.
Rosie Rios is the chair of the America 250 organization. They've been planning this for years.
We want people to be able to feel like this is as community-driven and grassroots as possible.
The America250.org site has a calendar that breaks down all the planned events in each state, and more will be added. As for the big celebrations, Rio says Wednesday, July 1st, the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library in North Dakota kicks off a celebration of the American West. Thursday, July 2nd, there's pending legislation to bury a time capsule in Philadelphia to commemorate 250 years of American history. Friday, July 3rd, the official countdown to Independence Day with a star-spangled ball drop in New York City's Times Square. Then, on the rivers where Revolutionary War battles were fought, Manhattan will be surrounded by a display of ships new and old from multiple countries, including Great Britain.
This will be the premier national event for America.
On July 4th, dozens of historic tall ships will sail an 11-mile stretch of the Hudson River, as well as multiple Allied and U.S. naval vessels, and overhead, more than 100 aircrafts, including the Blue Angels, will be in the sky. The international tall ships will be on display from July 3rd through the 8th, and visitors will be allowed to board them.
When you set foot on board a tall ship, you're setting foot on sovereign foreign territory.
There are also several celebrations being held on July 4th weekend in Washington, D.C., hosted by Freedom 250.
Not to be outdone, there's going to be plenty of celebrations right here in the four-state area, which happens to coincide with the 100th anniversary of the Mother Road, Route 66. Coming up next, a country music icon celebrates a milestone birthday.
Few times. That means
Dolly Parton celebrates her 80th birthday today, but she's the one giving to others. A new version of her 1977 single, Light of a Clear Blue Morning, is now available, along with the music video. Proceeds from both are going to a children's hospital in Nashville to support pediatric cancer research. The song features other stars like Queen Latifah and Miley Cyrus. Parton's website says it has a message of hope and love. And this long weekend at the box office, Avatar: Fire and Ash hit #1 for the 5th week in a row, notching another $13.3 million in ticket sales. That's according to studio estimates. It just edged out 28 years later, The Bone Temple at $13 million. Zootopia 2, it ended up in the third spot with $8 million for the long weekend. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Calls for non-violence grow in Minneapolis, but so do the protests following an ICE-related shooting. And old alliances face new challenges as President Trump continues calling for the acquisition of Greenland.
You're watching the Four States Most Watched News.
A Missouri Senate committee prepares to hear testimony this week on legislation addressing online sextortion. The Evan's Voice Act honors 16-year-old Evan Bettler of Aurora, Missouri, who died by suicide after online exploitation. Someone coerced Evan into sending a compromising photo, then threatened to share it with people he knew. The bill creates the offense of grooming a minor as a Class B felony and makes it a Class A felony if sexual contact occurs.
We're trying to hold people accountable and penalize them for these acts, but there isn't currently legislation out or laws that have been passed to prevent these things from happening online.
The Bettlers and Aurora Police Chief Wes Coatney testified before the House committee last week. They'll appear before the Senate committee Wednesday to advocate for the bill's passage. Coatney says current state law provides limited tools for investigating online exploitation cases. ICE operations continue across Minneapolis in the wake of the shooting death of Renee Nicole Good. The demonstrations come as the nation honors the work of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with his family, as well as local leaders across Minnesota calling for peace and nonviolence. Fox News' Ted Lidner reports on the latest.
Justice for Renee Good!
Demonstrations against ongoing ICE operations aren't slowing down across Minneapolis. On Sunday, postal workers held a protest, with many saying federal immigration agents are impacting their routes and community members.
This is our nation. We're taking it back one block at a time.
Meanwhile, outside Minneapolis City Hall on Saturday, a large crowd of counter-protesters came face-to-face with an anti-Islam and pro-ICE rally led by conservative influencer Jake Lang. The weekend's events happening as the nation gears up to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday.
The one thing that I think Dr. King reminds people of is hope.
Highlighting her father's legacy of nonviolent resistance during the civil rights movement, Dr. King's daughter says it's critical that not just protesters practice peace.
I dare say that the very nonviolence that people always want to suggest that activists lean into, we need ICE agents to lean into it. We need law enforcement to lean into it.
It comes as the Pentagon has ordered roughly 1,500 active duty soldiers to be on standby for possible deployment to Minnesota. This after President Donald Trump recently threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act to try and end the protests.
These anarchists are starting to go out into the streets, and they are threatening American citizens.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry says sending in the military is not the answer.
This act was clearly designed to intimidate the people of Minneapolis. And here's the thing. We're not going to be intimidated.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
President Trump lashed out at Norway for not giving him a Nobel Peace Prize. In a message to Norway's Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre, President Trump said he's no longer fully obligated to peace since he was denied the Nobel Peace Prize. A committee appointed by the Norwegian Parliament determines who's awarded the Peace Prize. The message was sent after Støre texted Trump opposing the president's plans to impose tariffs on European countries who oppose his bid to annex Greenland. Trump went on to say that Denmark can't protect Greenland from Russia or China. He also questioned Denmark's right to Greenland, asking, quote, why do they have a right of ownership anyway? European allies are firing back at President Trump's tariff threat over Greenland. They call it a mistake and even blackmail, and say he's undermining transatlantic relations. They held an emergency meeting on that issue yesterday. Fox News correspondent Stephanie Bennett has the latest.
Denmark's foreign minister says they're trying to get President Donald Trump to abandon the idea that he has to own Greenland and explore a more diplomatic path forward. NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte held a phone call with President Trump saying they will continue working on this. On Saturday, the president announced he'll be imposing 10% tariffs from the 1st of February, which will then rise to 25% on June 1st until a deal is reached to purchase Greenland. He insists it's critical for America's national security, and also the land is rich in minerals. Trump said the tariffs on any and all goods sent to the U.S. would hit the UK, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, Finland, and the Netherlands. Those countries firing back. In a joint statement, they wrote in part, quote, we will stand in full solidarity with the Kingdom of Denmark and the people of Greenland. We stand ready to engage in a dialogue based on the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity that we stand firmly behind. Tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. We will continue to stand united and coordinated in our response. Last week, several of those countries sent military personnel to Greenland. Hundreds gathered this weekend to protest the president's plans, insisting it's not for sale, and many are pushing for complete independence away from Denmark, who controls its foreign and defense policies.
Just want to live in quiet and peace and with each other in this great country. We are the ones who know our country best. We know how to take care of it.
President Trump will travel this week to the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, where he'll be running into many of those European leaders. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
Austin's next with a complete look at the forecast and a change of leadership. Coming up, how changes for the Army Corps of Engineers in Arkansas could mean improvements for Missouri's Table Rock Lake.
Another frigid evening on tap for tonight. We'll see temperatures around 19 degrees as they're actually going to rise heading into tomorrow as a warm front's moving through. I know that doesn't sound warm with wind chills around 5 to 10 degrees, but heading into tomorrow, 48 degrees, so much warmer, considerably heading into your Tuesday, and then even warmer Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised on Wednesday if we actually break into the 50s there. That would be nice. Can't rule out a brief sprinkle or two. Cloud cover begins to develop Thursday. Heading into Thursday afternoon, we're near the mid 40s. And then heading into Friday, temperatures much cooler, winds out of the north. That's going to also bring the potential for some snowfalls. We're going to see a little shortwave begin to move in, but check out those temperatures dropping to around 5 degrees heading from Friday into Saturday. Notice the snow potential does not hang around long for us. Let's talk about the setup here. We have this closed off low off to our west. This is an upper level low that kind of shoots some energy out to our east here. That's what's going to give us that little shortwave disturbance. As that happens, we're going to see a potential for a little bit of snowfall to begin developing, especially off to our west and our south. Now, why is it developing around us and not over us? That's the main question, right? Well, here's our jet stream. So our jet stream takes a dip south, and you'll notice these darker shades starting to develop here right along the 4 states region. This is known as the jet core. The jet core is what gives us this horizontal movement here. It's very fast, significant flow of just horizontal movement, which doesn't allow for a lot of vertical movement. And we need vertical movement for moisture to begin to develop in the atmosphere to then give us the opportunity to see some snow showers. So where does that happen? Well, that typically happens on the left entry point of the jet stream, where we can see a little bit more of wind and wind direction and wind speed disruption off to the left entry point and then off to the right exit point. Now, so that's why we're kind of seeing off to our west and off to our south, because we have a little bit more opportunity for some wind disruption as well off to the south of the jet stream. Now, with that jet stream and the big dip, we're going to see some cold air really begin to move in. That's going to bring probably the coldest air we have seen through the winter so far. So let's put all of this together, okay? We have our low-level jet off to our west. That shoots out energy here off to the east. Jet stream starts dipping southward here. That allows cold air to rush in. We need all of this to meet together at the same time, but because we have this jet core here, that's kind of situated right now over the 4 states. That's what models are showing for us right now. That's why we're not really talking about accumulation at this point, because any minor changes would fluctuate considerably there. But notice these temperatures heading into the weekend. My gosh, is it going to be cold out there. Sunday, 26, but then as we head back into Monday, we're back up to 44 degrees, 38 on Tuesday, 48 next week, Wednesday, Dow.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see upper 40s if we get this bitterly cold weather out of the way. And we'll see about the snow accumulation. Some people would love to see quite a bit, and some people just
if it's going to be that cold, what are we sacrificing for, right? Let's get a little bit of snow.
Okay, maybe, we'll see. Still ahead, Indiana and Miami duke it out in the College Football National Championship. Plus, the 2026 Lancer Classic tips off at Southeast High School. Ben McLeish has those stories and more. It's coming up next in sports.
The 2026 Lancer Classic tips off today at Southeast High School with a full slate of games in the girls' bracket. Starting off the day, it's Neodesha versus Baxter Springs. In the opening minutes, the Blue Streaks passing it around the key, eventually finding Olivia Morrison in the paint, who puts it in as Neodesha takes a 5-point lead. Now on the fast break, Hadley Carpenter finding Allison Stover, who outruns the defense and lays it in for the Blue Streaks. The Lions looking to respond, but Tiana Sanders tips it to her teammate Stover. Back to Sanders, and Sanders knocks it down over the defender as the Blue Streaks continue to capitalize in transition. Ava Gooch with the 3-point attempt. It's wide, but Stover's right there for the board and basket. Neodesha continues to dominate. Back on offense, the Blue Streaks passing around, getting it to Stover, who pulls up from 3 and drains the triple to give Neodesha the 14-point lead. With the ball again, this time Combs tries her luck from 3. It's nothing but net, and the Blue Streaks remain red hot. They cruise to the 54-18 win over Baxter Springs. In the nightcap, it's the Commerce Tigers taking on the Columbus Titans. The Tigers on the attack, but America's Woodcock is there with the steal. She takes it all the way for the score and the game's first basket. Commerce now on the attack, passing it around, finding Haven Ragsdale down low. She muscles it in to put the Tigers on the board. Back on the prowl, the Tigers find Sydney Daylight at the top of the key. She banks it in for the three-point lead. Now in transition, Irish McCleary collects it, passing it out to Ragsdale, who pulls up and drains the triple as the Tigers start to catch fire. Passing it around the key, getting it to Daylight. She's gonna pull up from three. Why not? It's good as the Tigers outlast the Titans 43-26. And finally, host school Southeast narrowly falls to the Seneca Indians in a nail-biter, 53-52, the final. And over in Miami, Florida, it's the biggest night of the year for college football fans. The Indiana Hoosiers and Miami Hurricanes duke it out in the national championship game. And this one is a nail-biter, but Indiana just took a 10-point lead in the final 10 minutes thanks to a Superman-like run by quarterback Fernando Mendoza. So the Miami Hurricanes, with their backs against the wall, have a little over 9 minutes to score twice and keep their season alive. But football season's coming to an end. NFL has a few weeks. Now it's starting to really embrace basketball as the NBA and high school and college get in full swing.
An awful lot of Division I college fans, though, are waiting to see how this championship game turns out. And as you say, it's still anybody's game.
For sure.
We'll see. We'll be right back. There's new leadership for the Army Corps of Engineers Regional Office of Little Rock. Chris Bryant tells us what Southwest Missouri's congressman hopes this new leadership looks like for people who live near Table Rock Lake.
This has been a number one topic for this congressional office for decades.
The leadership and operations of the Army Corps of Engineers out of Little Rock, which maintains the condition of Table Rock Lake, have been a concern for congressional members in Missouri.
It was the most difficult government agency to deal with in all of the years that I've served in the state level or in the federal level. And it was very revealing, and it's a huge relief to finally get that validated by the administration.
Now, new leadership of the Corps could make things better for Missourians who live, work, and play at Table Rock Lake. In January of 2025, Congress passed the Water Resources Development Act, which is updated every 2 years. The goal is to work on infrastructure projects like port improvements, flood control, navigation, and ecosystem restoration. Since then, Congressman Eric Burleson says homeowners have had to deal with issues with being ordered to remove structures that have been on their property for decades.
And now they want to make this Little Rock office the example of how you should operate instead of the example of how you shouldn't operate. The citizens who live around the lake should see a massive change in the posture and the attitude of the employees of the Army Corps of Engineers.
Congressman Burleson and Senator Eric Schmidt worked to address concerns about enforcement pressures, including actions related to dock lease renewals. Last week, the sitting Corps of Engineers District Commander, Colonel Patrick Cocken, was removed from his position for a loss of confidence after just 5 months on the job. Colonel Jesse Carter is now acting as interim district commander.
It's a shakeup, and it sends a strong message that at the end of the day, we work for the taxpayers, that there are customers, there are servants, and we should have a posture of yes, if, instead of a posture of no, because.
In a statement, the spokesperson for the Army Corps of Engineers in Little Rock wrote, "This decision was made in accordance with established Army procedures, and we have the utmost confidence in that process. Our focus remains on the future and supporting the Little Rock District's vital mission, and we are confident in Lieutenant Colonel Jesse Carter's ability to lead the district forward effectively.
We're going to take a look at what's new in Hollywood news when we come back. A new record for A24 Films, the return of a familiar name to science fiction, and big praise for a Norwegian film. David Daniel has details in your Hollywood Minute.
How do you live?
Well, I live with the confidence if I believe in myself, the money will follow.
The money has followed for Marty Supreme. The drama starring Timothée Chalamet has topped $80 million at the domestic box office, the best ever for a film released by A24. The previous record holder, Oscar Best Picture winner Everything Everywhere All at Once with $77 million.
Bad Robot, which is our production company, we're working on a number of projects.
J.J. Abrams is jumping back into sci-fi. Warner Brothers has slated the writer-director's film The Great Beyond to launch in IMAX theaters November 13th. Emma Mackey, Glenn Powell, Jenna Ortega, and Samuel L. Jackson lead the cast.
I can't work with him. We can't really talk.
Sentimental value dominated the 38th European Film Awards. The drama from Norwegian filmmaker Joachim Trier won 6 awards, including Best Film, Director, Actor for Stellan Skarsgård, and Actress for Renate Reinsve. The awards website Gold Derby has Skarsgård and Reinsve among the favorites for Oscar nominations. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Please do be careful out there, and let's make it a great tomorrow.